Imagine stepping onto a path that leads not through a physical landscape, but through the contours of your own life and spirit. This journey doesn't ask for rapid change or instant transformation but invites a slow release of what no longer serves your deepest growth. Today, we look into the lives of highly spiritual people, not through anecdotal tales but by understanding the common threads that mark their paths to enlightenment. These individuals often find themselves gradually letting go of certain habits and mindsets as they mature in their spiritual lives. Our video will explore 6 pivotal things that such individuals often quit slowly, each a stepping stone to greater peace and spiritual depth. The first significant shift that many spiritually inclined individuals experience is moving away from materialism. In a world that often equates success with possessions, choosing a path less traveled by focusing on non-materialistic values can seem daunting. Yet, it is a profound shift that promises liberation and a new perspective on what truly enriches one's life. Material possessions, while necessary to a certain extent, hold a type of energy that binds. They demand attention, maintenance, and, eventually, replacement, which can create a cycle of continuous acquisition. Spiritual individuals often seek to break this cycle, not abruptly, but through a gradual realignment of priorities. They begin to find joy and fulfillment in experiences that foster inner growth and connections with others rather than in accumulating goods. This shift is subtle and often occurs over years or even decades, as the allure of material wealth slowly loses its grip. The change can start small, choosing to buy fewer but more meaningful items, decluttering living spaces to reflect a more minimalist lifestyle, or investing in activities that enrich the soul rather than the home. Over time, these choices reflect a broader internal shift towards valuing the impermanent and the intangible. Freedom from materialism opens up mental space and resources, allowing one to invest in personal development, charitable acts, and spiritual pursuits that provide lasting satisfaction beyond the temporary thrill of a new purchase. Parallel to shedding the weight of physical possessions is the release of harmful self-dialogue. Negative self-talk is a common habit that many struggle with, but for those on a spiritual path, quieting this inner critic is crucial for deeper self-awareness and growth. The journey away from self-criticism to self-support is not about silencing a part of oneself but transforming it. It involves recognizing the patterns of negative thinking that frequently stem from our deepest insecurities and fears. Spiritual growth involves observing these patterns without attachment, understanding their origins, and gently reshaping them into affirmations that support one's well-being and spiritual ambitions. For instance, a common self-critical thought might be, "I'm not good enough to achieve peace or enlightenment," which can be slowly transformed into, "I am on my unique path, and every step brings me closer to peace." This shift doesn't happen overnight. It requires consistent practice, such as meditation, mindfulness, or journaling, to become aware of when negative thoughts arise and to consciously choose a kinder response. This process enriches the spiritual journey as it teaches compassion starting with oneself, which then naturally extends to others. While spiritual individuals practice more positive self-talk, they build a foundation of inner strength and peace that supports all other aspects of their spiritual development. As individuals deepen their spiritual practices, they often begin to notice how much their actions have been influenced by the desire for external approval. This realization can come gently, as a whisper that tells them their worth isn't tied to others' opinions or applause. The shift away from seeking external validation is pivotal, allowing for a more authentic expression of self that aligns with one's true spiritual values. This change usually unfolds by first becoming aware of the moments when one seeks approval. Whether it's dressing a certain way, behaving in a manner that pleases others, or making choices based on what one thinks is expected rather than what feels right. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward freedom. The next step is slowly starting to make decisions based on personal truth and integrity, even if these choices might not win the favor of everyone. Over time, this leads to a stronger sense of self-reliance and trust in one's own judgment. The detachment from the need for approval reinforces a spiritual person's journey by fostering a sense of peace and self-assurance. It helps cultivate an environment where one's actions and choices are increasingly governed by inner values and spiritual understanding, rather than by the fluctuating opinions of others. This isn't about disregarding the feelings or advice of others, but rather about not allowing these external voices to dictate one's self-esteem or path. Another significant transformation that occurs on the spiritual path is the relinquishing of the need to control every aspect of life. This lesson often surfaces through experiences where previously tried and true methods of control no longer seem to work. It teaches that life's true nature is fluid and often unpredictable, and that peace comes from adapting to this reality rather than fighting it. Letting go of control involves recognizing where one's influence ends and where trust must begin. For spiritual individuals, this might mean acknowledging that they can set intentions and work towards goals, but the outcomes may not always be in their hands. It's a gradual acceptance that, despite one's best efforts, some things will unfold in their own time and way. This acceptance does not lead to passivity but to a more dynamic interaction with life. It encourages living with an open hand rather than a clenched fist. This openness allows for experiences and insights that rigid control would have blocked, enriching the spiritual journey. It builds resilience and flexibility, qualities essential for anyone seeking to deepen their spiritual understanding. A common habit that those on a spiritual path learn to quit slowly is the tendency to dwell excessively on the past or to worry about the future. This shift is crucial for cultivating a state of presence, which is often highlighted as a cornerstone of spiritual practice. Being present allows individuals to experience life as it unfolds, recognizing the richness of the here and now rather than being caught in endless cycles of what was or what might be. The process of becoming more present usually begins with the practice of mindfulness. This involves simple but profound techniques such as paying attention to one's breathing, noticing the sensations of the body, and observing thoughts and emotions without attachment. As this practice deepens, it becomes clearer how much energy is wasted on rehashing past scenarios or imagining future problems. Gradually, the allure of past and future thinking loses its grip, and the peace of the present moment becomes more apparent and more attractive. Reducing the focus on past and future not only enhances spiritual well-being but also improves overall mental health. It reduces stress and anxiety, leads to better decision-making, and increases appreciation for the small joys of daily life. This doesn't mean ignoring the past or future altogether but rather changing the relationship with time so that it's no longer a source of unnecessary suffering. While individuals grow spiritually, they often find themselves reassessing their social circles. This is not about judgment or exclusion but about seeking alignment between one's environment and one's spiritual values. Highly spiritual people tend to gravitate towards relationships that are supportive, enriching, and reflective of their values. Conversely, they slowly distance themselves from relationships that drain their energy or detract from their peace. This reevaluation of company often happens gradually as one becomes more attuned to the energies they allow in their personal space. It starts with noticing how different interactions affect their energy and mood and progresses towards making more deliberate choices about whom to spend time with. The criteria for these choices become less about social obligation and more about mutual growth and support. Letting go of negative company is not done out of superiority but from a place of self-respect and a desire for authenticity in relationships. It's about cultivating an environment where spiritual growth can thrive. This might mean having fewer friends, but it also means having deeper and more meaningful connections with those who remain. While we conclude this video, I encourage you to engage in a personal reflection on these 6 points. Consider which of these areas might be calling for your attention. Reflect on the current state of your own habits and relationships. Are they supporting your spiritual journey, or are they holding you back? The process of quitting these things is gradual and requires patience and persistence. It's not about perfection but about progress. Take a moment to think about small, practical steps you could take to begin addressing one or more of these areas in your life. Perhaps you might start a mindfulness practice to enhance your presence or begin to sort through your possessions to reduce material clutter. Maybe it's time to assess your relationships and consider whether they bring positive energy into your life or drain it. In the spirit of growth and connection, I invite you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Which of these 6 things are you working on? Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the 6 things highly spiritual people quit slowly. Your journey towards spiritual depth is unique, and each step, no matter how small, is a part of the beautiful tapestry of your life. Remember, the path does not require rushing, it invites a gentle, steady pace where every phase of letting go is both a challenge and a triumph.